My name is Hany Al Sonbaty. I'm the founder of Sawari Ventures and Flat 6 Labs. Sawari Ventures is a venture capital fund focusing on Egypt and North Africa, and Flat 6 Labs is probably the best seed investor in Egypt and the Arab world. Combined, we have just under $200 million of assets under management. We started both of them in and about the same time, myself and my partners, in and around 2010, 2011. I first got in the venture capital game as part of being in a private equity house, and that was in and around 1999 when I made my first venture capital type investment. At the time, Egypt was deregulating telecoms, so a lot of what we invested in was the very first wave of online services. You may know some of them: Otlub, Masrawi, Mazika.com. Plus, we invested in a lot of infrastructure, data centers. And at the time, it was both very exciting and very scary because we didn't know where this journey will lead to. But we all at the time were big believers, and this is more than 20 years ago, in the impact of digitization on the economy, and at the time, the impact of how internet will change our lives in every aspect. Over the past decade, Sawari Ventures has invested in around 30 companies in Egypt and North Africa. And Flat 6 Labs has just invested under 400 companies all across the Arab world. And we're very proud of our investment output, and we're very proud of some of the companies that have partnered with us. People keep always asking me and asking my partners what your favorite investments are. It's not something for us to say. It's like asking someone who your favorite son is. Companies develop at their own pace. Some of the more famous ones that we've invested and partnered along with are the likes of Instabug, probably the world's premier mobile phone debugging tool on billions of phones. Other less known ones but are equally impactful are like Cyware, which really is revolutionizing spectroscopy. Another one that you'll hear of soon, Pearl Semiconductors, which really is at the cutting edge of semiconductor timing solutions. From a consumer perspective, in Egypt, there is Money Fellows, which now gives jam'iyat or roskas to tens of thousands of people a month. And if you go further west, we are very proud with our association of Go My Code in Tunis, which is training thousands and thousands of young Arab men and women coding, and they're expanding into Africa. But these are the ones you may have heard of, but we're very proud of our overall impact and our overall portfolio. As I said, I have a perspective from '99. There's a Daft Punk song called Bigger, Faster, Better, I think. You just take that and multiply it by 100. Everything's bigger, better, and faster. The scary thing is, I don't think we even begun yet. I think in our lifetimes we will see the activity increase by tenfold from what it is now. And that's what really excites myself and my colleagues and partners, to be part of that journey. Myself and partners and colleagues, when we started Flat 6 Labs and Sawari Ventures, our main aim was to make sure that any budding entrepreneur, any entrepreneur of any size, can find the capital that they require to build their product or company as they see fit. I think that hasn't changed. Our main target is to be able to be part of an ecosystem that can provide the widest base of support for the maximum number of entrepreneurs that we can. And we believe by increasing that base, we can yield amazing results, not just for the ecosystem as a whole, but for Egypt as a country. Because the power of entrepreneurship isn't necessarily what people say, the job creation or the economic value that it produces, but more importantly, it's a way of allowing risk takers, people with ambition, to push the boundaries of the status quo. And with every new boundary we push, I think us and the society as a whole end up with a better state of affairs. That's actually why it's called Sawari Ventures. It's that Elfie chose the name, wanted to instill a sense of discovery in the whole process. So we are like the entity that launches 1,000 ships into the unknown and to discover the undiscovered yet, and hopefully find a better status quo for us and for the rest of the country. At Sonbaty Ventures and Flat 6 Labs, we see that the next phase of our expansion would be to take our brand of venture capital and seed investment to the continent as a whole. There is more that Egypt has in common with the continent, both North Africa and Sub-Saharan Africa, than with other parts of the world. And we believe that Egypt is a pillar for growth of the overall continental African ecosystem. Our ambition over the next decade would be to have a platform for capital investment, value-added entrepreneurship, whatever you call it, that spans from Cairo to Cape Town. That's our motto for the next decade. And we believe that that would not only just transform the Egyptian economies, but also transform the African ones. There's a lot to be gained by intra-African cooperation, and we hope to be part of a small cog that allows entrepreneurs to be able to do things on a continental basis. I was dragged to the very first Minds Alike gathering by my colleagues, and I thought it's just going to be another one of those mixers. You go and you meet the same people and talk about the same things. But there was something special about it. When we all crossed the threshold to go into Minds Alike, we all left our allegiances, alliances, our names, what we do at the door, and we all exchanged ideas as individuals rather as the founder of Sonbaty Ventures with an entrepreneur. It really was a unique experience which hasn't been replicated by any other gathering. For some reason, when people go to Minds Alike, they leave their corporate identity at the door, just like the old knights used to leave their armor and shield when they entered into a festive situation. And we all gathered as human beings discussing things that are bigger than our daily jobs, and that's why I like it, and that's why I think the name Minds Alike is apt, and I don't know what it was, but it just gives you that whole atmosphere. I'd love to see more Minds Alike events. Corona was brutal on all of us, and I think Minds Alike coming back is a sign of normalcy, but I'd like to see it grow bigger, and definitely I'd like that Minds Alike expand outside of Egypt, because in our travels across the continent and other countries, we see that there is a need for people to congregate who have similar interests without the baggage of their corporate identities. I think everyone coming to Minds Alike should bring at least one or two people who haven't been to an event. That's the first thing. Increase the number of people who are exposed to it. But generally, it's an event that is for people who are interested in the whole world of entrepreneurship, the digital landscape, anything about anybody who's interested in the future. If you ask me, there is going to be a convergence between the hard digital stuff and arts, music, literature. And I think, considering that the future of arts could be digital in some aspect, I think involving them early on and exchanging ideas with them would be fascinating and great. The key thing to Minds Alike is how I feel when I leave, and I've always left with a sense of more hopefulness, more optimism about the future, and the general love for the overall ecosystem. So we may in the morning be competitors in one field or another, but collectively we're doing something great together, and that's one of the key things that I love about Minds Alike. Reminds us, or at least reminds me, of the human element of the people that work within our ecosystem.